In today's day and age, the rate at which new anime is being released is almost impossible to keep up with. Add to that the near century-long backlog of anime that's already been released, and we can't fault you for being lost about what anime to watch next. That's why we compiled this list of some classic yet underrated 90s anime so that older anime that deserves an audience wouldn't go unnoticed due to a lack of popularity or modern fandom. From deep, complex dramas to switch your brain off wacky comedies, this list will have an anime for every kind of anime fan. Giant Robo, The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1992. Giant Robo, The Day the Earth Stood Still is an anime OVA, or original video animation series, made as a celebration of the works of Mitsuteru Yokoyama, the legendary mangaka behind Tetsujin 28 Go and one of the foundational figures of giant robot fiction. In the far future, the invention of the Shizuma drive created a self-sustaining power source, ending reliance on traditional fossil fuels. However, its invention came at the cost of many lives in what became known as the Tragedy of Bashtar. We follow Daisuke Kusama, who pilots the titular Giant Robo for the International Police Organization as an agent known as an expert of justice. They fight against the villainous BF group, which wishes to recreate the tragedy of Bashtar and uses giant mechanical creatures to do its bidding. Giant Robo is unique as an anime adaptation, as it doesn't directly adapt plots from Yokoyama's works, instead taking characters from different works of Yokoyama and creating an original storyline involving characters from wildly different backgrounds. The series spans just 7 episodes, airing from 1992 to 98, with the beautiful animation being the main cause for the lengthy production schedule. It draws inspiration from a variety of sources, including Hong Kong action cinema, the Art Deco design movement of the 1920s, also seen in the anime The Big O, and diesel punk. However, the series has remained underappreciated since the 90s due to its focus on emulating the retro art style of the anime and manga that Mitsuteru Yokoyama worked on. Martian Successor Nadesico, 1996. Also known as Nadesico, this one's a science fiction comedy anime with original designs by mangaka Kiya Asamiya, directed by Tatsuo Sato, and produced by the animation studio Xebec. The story, set in the distant future of 2196, follows pilot Akito Tenkawa as he works on the spaceship Nadesico, built to combat the mysterious enemy initially known as the Jovian Lizards. Akito himself barely escaped the destruction of his home colony on Mars by the Jovian Lizards, and thus, he possesses a deep fear of the aliens as a result. Regardless, he finds himself piloting a mech suit known as an Aestivalis alongside his other crew members as they fight back the Jovian invasion. Despite the rather serious storyline, this anime is much more fun than you might expect. The crew of the Nadesico are all quirky and eccentric in their own ways, and the absurd interactions between them fuel the comedy of the series. Each character, no matter how minor, is given a personality and character details to help flesh them out. Akito himself is far from the typical hot-blooded, passionate mecha anime protagonist. He's uninterested in fighting or romance and is content to just follow his passion for cooking and watch his favorite anime. The series effortlessly moves from sincere drama to genre parody and only gets more complex and intricate as the series goes on. Martian Successor Nadesico does not break the popular trends of anime at the time, but the writing and humor make it a worthy anime to revisit now. Puppet Master Sakon, 1999. Puppet Master Sakon, or Sakon the Ventriloquist in the West, is a mystery anime series that follows Sakon, a puppeteer who solves mysteries with the help of his seemingly supernatural puppet, Ukon. This story is heavily reliant on Japanese culture, specifically around bunraku theater, a form of theater that uses puppets for the performance. The series follows the typical mystery format of the central hero stumbling upon a crime that's occurred and being roped into investigating and solving the mystery. What makes Puppet Master Sakon unique is that Sakon, despite being a smart young man, is very introverted and often relies on his puppet Ukon to solve the crime. Ukon is a bunraku puppet created in 1870, and unlike Sakon, is brash, outspoken, and often rude. The dichotomy between the two provides excellent and entertaining interactions and allows Sakon to explain his thought processes to the audience through the puppet. Ukon is also the character that highlights the supernatural elements of the show. Ukon can allow the souls of the recently deceased to possess his body to hear their final words before they died, which often provides vital clues on the nature of their death. The series associates the art of puppetry, the ability to control even the most minute aspects of the puppet, with the ability to read the mind and subtle body language of people. Even if the mystery genre is a formulaic and repetitive one, the references to Japanese culture and customs, as well as the intriguing dynamic between puppet and puppeteer detectives, allows Puppet Master Sakon to earn a place on this list. Those Who Hunt Elves, 1996. When Junpei, Ritsuko, and Airi, three strangers from modern-day Japan, find themselves transported to a magical world, they must take the help of the elven sorceress Celsia to make their way back to their world. However, when the spell goes awry, they must find the different fragments of the spell that were dispersed across the land and attached to the skins of elves. To aid them in their quest, they find a T-74 tank that's possessed by the spirit of a cat called Miki. I think from that description alone, you probably understand just what kind of a show Those Who Hunt Elves is. The characters spend most of the show hunting down every person that looks even remotely elf-like, and then forcing them to strip to see if they carry the spell fragment that they're looking for. It's absolutely the kind of premise that modern viewers need to be warned about before pressing play, but the series never aims to sexualize this process, instead depicting it as the kind of stupid hijinks the protagonists often get into. The series has a kind of in-your-face, hyperactive absurdity that's seen in every element of it, from the character design to the writing to even the opening theme. It's very straightforward, with almost zero depth or complexity, but the show manages to use that to its advantage, creating a world of characters that are all cartoonish and slapstick. Even the villains of the story are rarely threatening, and they're often just as much a victim of the gang's hijinks as any other character. If you're ever in the mood for something dumb and comfortingly hilarious, Those Who Hunt Elves might be just what you need. Key, the Metal Idol, 1994. In direct contrast to Those Who Hunt Elves, Key the Metal Idol is a dark and complex mystery anime. We follow Tokiko Mima, nicknamed Key, who's a robot raised by her creator, the scientist Murao Mima, as his own granddaughter. On his deathbed, he reveals to her that he can turn into a human by gaining 30,000 friends. We see her leave her village home at age 13 and go to the city, where she meets Sakura, an old friend from middle school, and Shuichi, her friend from work. They decide to help her become an idol to achieve her goal of 30,000 friends. Normally, we'd expect the story to continue in a lighter direction, following Key and her friends as they try to make Key a successful singer, but the story takes an unexpected, darker turn, and we're introduced to the storyline involving Eijo Heavy Industries and the mysteries surrounding Key's origins. It's fascinating watching these two different plots intersect. The story serves as an allegory for the brutal exploitation present in the idol industry in Japan, with Key acting as the connecting character between the robotics conspiracy plotline and the idol plotline. Modern viewers may find Key spiritually similar to later quiet, alienated sci-fi heroines like Rei Ayanami in Neon Genesis Evangelion and Lane Iwakura in Serial Experiments Lane. The series is a worthy addition to the Sci-Fi Anime Hall of Fame with its exploration of the role of technology in modern life. Future GPX Cyber Formula, 1991. Set in a futuristic world where race cars now come equipped with artificial intelligence, superconducting motors, and hydrogen-powered engines, Future GPX Cyber Formula shows a fantastical version of Formula-style racing. Set in the distant future of the year 2015, racing has become more dangerous as cars have become faster and more powerful, with some even coming equipped with artificial intelligence to help navigate tricky race courses. We follow 14-year-old Hayato Kazami, a young driver who has accidentally signed up to drive the experimental Asurara, a cyber formula race car designed by his father. Together with the AI aboard the Asurara, Hayato must prove himself on the racetrack to both his fellow racers and the world at large. He's aided in this quest by his pit crew, Team Sugo, led by his childhood friend Asuka Sugo. The fun of the series is getting to see the different futuristic courses and how Hayato navigates them with Asurara's help. Each race has its fair share of colorful characters and racers, all of whom are entertaining in a wacky way. With each race, we see Hayato grow as both a racer and as a person. Along the way, we see his bond with Asurara grow as they conquer the races together, as well as with the other members of Team Sugo. Formula-style racing has begun to grow in popularity in recent years, and Future GPX Cyber Formula offers a fun sci-fi alternative filled with thrilling races and wacky rivals. Ghost Sweeper Mikami, 1993. Ghost Sweeper Mikami is a shonen anime series focused on the supernatural and exorcisms, but it's also about how Japanese society is affected by rampant urban development and how it affects their culture and customs. The series follows Reiko Mikami, one of the most skilled exorcists of the day, and her two assistants, the human Tadao Yokoshima and the ghost Okinu. However, Reiko doesn't perform exorcisms out of the goodness of her heart. She's money-hungry and mercenary, charging outrageous fees for her services while underpaying the assistants beneath her. The story follows an episodic structure with a larger overarching storyline about Reiko's conflict with powerful demonic forces such as the Ashtaroth. The series uses its story to talk about the bridge forming between Japan's culture and heritage and the modern capitalistic society it's become. Reiko, despite being trained in the historical and supernatural practices of exorcism, refuses to use them unless they profit her in some way. Her all-encompassing greed is so absurd that it makes a good comedic foil to the horrifying events that the series depicts. With her skills and prowess, no ghosts or demons would be able to threaten innocent lives, but unfortunately, Reiko is only in it for the money. Even some of the ghosts that Reiko and her team encounter are too absurd to be taken seriously as a threat. Ghost Sweeper Mikami is worth watching, even if it's just for how hilariously it blends the modern with the historical. Record of Lodoss War, 1990. Record of Lodoss War has one of the most unique origin stories for any fantasy franchise. Originally based on a role-playing game campaign run by the author, Ryo Mizuno, Mizuno later adapted it into a series of high fantasy Japanese-language novels, which were further adapted into manga and then an anime series. Set on the cursed island of Lodoss, we follow Parn, a young, idealistic knight who begins the series fighting to save his village. Soon, however, he finds himself embroiled in larger conflicts that threaten all of Lodoss. Like the name suggests, Record of Lodoss War tells the stories of war in Lodoss through the perspective of Parn and other ground-level witnesses to the conflicts. Parn is accompanied on his journey by a cast of eccentric characters, including Deedlit the Elf, Gim the Dwarf, Woodchuck the Thief, Ito the Cleric, and Slain the Mage. We can see the inspiration from Dungeons & Dragons in these basic character archetypes, and the series as a whole follows stock fantasy tropes. We see a lot of classic tropes right out of fantasy stories like gods going to war in the ancient past and warriors fighting off evil warlords seeking to destabilize the land. What makes Record of Lodoss War so good is what Mizuno realized when he first published transcripts of his campaign sessions in the magazine Comptique. Despite the tropes, the epic scope of the story and the likable characters meant that the story never stopped being interesting. Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water, 1990. One of the earlier directorial works by Hideaki Anno, who would later go on to direct the legendary Neon Genesis Evangelion, Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water is an action-adventure series that draws inspiration from the works of Jules Verne, specifically 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. In an alternate history set in 1889, we follow two kids, Nadia, the mysterious protagonist, and Jean, a young French inventor who are being chased by unknown foes for Nadia's pendant named the Blue Water. They soon find themselves recruited to the crew of the submarine Nautilus, piloted by none other than Captain Nemo, one of the central figures of the novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Together, they seek to save the world from the forces of Neo-Atlantis and solve the mystery of Nadia's origins. The series is a steampunk science fiction adventure anime, but the central focus of the show is on the burgeoning relationship between Jean and Nadia. The romance between the two never feels forced or poorly written, committing fully to the awkward charm of two 14-year-olds finding themselves and each other. We see glimpses of the themes and elements that Anno would use in Evangelion, with the young lead bearing the burden of saving the world, the cruel actions of mankind, and the anxieties of growing up and finding one's own identity in such dangerous environments. Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water, despite seeming like a light action-adventure story, asks us to reflect on the violent nature of mankind and asks us to find a better way forward. Slayers, 1995. Slayers is an anime series adapted from the popular fantasy light novel series of the same name, specifically volumes 1 and 3 within the series. Written by Hajime Kanzaka, the anime series is directed by Takashi Watanabe, whose name became strongly tied to the Slayers anime franchise. In a world created by a mysterious being known only as the Lord of Nightmares, we follow teenage sorceress Lena Inverse as she wanders the lands and experiences various misadventures with her companions, ranging from comedic to tragic. Slayers is an anime with a world as vast and complex as Record of Lodoss War, but instead of being played completely straight, Lena and her adventures tend to poke fun at fantasy tropes and conventions. But that doesn't mean it's a world with no stakes or drama. Slayers does a remarkable job in creating serious storylines that wouldn't be out of place in other darker series, but still manages to find the humor and lightness of those stories. The series has plenty of problems arising from budgetary concerns, including a lot of still frames and choppy animation, but the anime still manages to draw you in with the sheer scope of the world and characters it displays. The magic system is wide and varied enough to create numerous different interactions with magic and make each episode feel fresh and interesting. Lena herself is a fun and entertaining character, her young, innocent appearance hiding a reputation for great violence and destructive magical potential. Slayers is one of the earliest examples of tropes that would become popular and overdone in later anime eras, but done with a freshness that makes it enjoyable to this day. Flame of Recca, 1997. Long before Naruto would establish the term Hokage as the title character's dream position in ninja society, Flame of Recca would introduce the Hokage clan and another ninja-obsessed teen character who finds himself intertwined with the destiny of his ninja clan. Teenager Recca Hanabishi has only one dream, to become a ninja, and he finds that dream coming true when he discovers he's the descendant of the leader of the secret Hokage clan of ninjas. Developing the ability to manipulate fire, he finds himself involved in ninja conflicts that started 4 centuries ago, involving the historical figure Oda Nobunaga and the quest to attain immortality. This focus on ninjas extends to the fights as well. The series has plenty of action scenes as befitting a shonen anime. However, even with the powers of elemental manipulation, the fights revolve less around brute strength and ki blasts and more about mind games and trickery, fitting for a series about ninjas. Recca also learns to shed his brash, abrasive persona for a more mature one, signaling growth from his childish dreams of becoming a ninja to gaining a proper understanding of the responsibilities and consequences that come with the role. Inspirations from various popular anime of the time like Rurouni Kenshin and Yu Yu Hakusho can be seen, but Flame of Recca is able to take these various inspirations and create something original out of them. Looking back now, it's easy to see why fans often compare it to later ninja battle shonen like Naruto, another series featuring ninjas who use elemental manipulation and trickery to fight. Gunsmith Cats, 1995. Despite the title, Gunsmith Cats is not about a group of felines who are expert arms manufacturers, though the idea is very interesting. Instead, it's a concentrated dose of 90s action movie tropes distilled into 3 OVA episodes featuring girls wielding lots of guns while driving fast cars. We follow Irene Raleigh Vincent and Minnie May Hopkins, 2 women who work at the Gunsmith Cats gun shop, also working as bounty hunters. We follow their adventures as they go up against dangerous gangs and drug organizations. The show borrows heavily from American action movies like The French Connection, as well as buddy comedies like The Blues Brothers. Gunsmith Cats also shares creative DNA with Kenichi Sonata's earlier OVA, Riding Bean, featuring the character Bean Bandit, who showed up in the Gunsmith Cats manga as an ally or enemy of the Cats, depending on the story. The OVA adaptation of the manga intriguingly opted to create an original storyline with references to the manga instead of adapting any one storyline from the book. Despite this, the OVA series doesn't drop the focus on fast cars and guns, which defines Gunsmith Cats. Gunsmith Cats is not a deep, dark, complex look at the American dream and the criminal elements that rose despite, or perhaps because of it, but it doesn't set out to be one. It exists as a uniquely Japanese take on the American pulp crime fiction that dominated the 20th century in literature and film. Gasaraki, 1998. Gasaraki is a mecha anime created by Studio Sunrise and directed by Ryosuke Takahashi, with Goro Taniguchi serving as assistant director before later becoming known for works like Planets and Code Geass. The series looks at war and the complex political machinations behind it, with a fictional Middle Eastern conflict that clearly evokes late 20th century anxieties about oil, intervention, and modern warfare. It follows the Gawa family, who long ago created the demon armor, a type of armor used to defeat the family's enemies. Now, in the then-future date of the 2010s, the Gawas use the demon armor as the basis for a series of mechanical suits called TA, or tactical armor, for military purposes. The series follows Yushiro Gawa, the 4th son of the Gawa family and a young introverted boy deployed into the fictional Middle Eastern nation of Belgistan to demonstrate the ability of the Gawa family's tactical armor. He finds himself caught in a conspiracy with the war between the US and Belgistan, as well as the Gawa's plans to usurp Japan using the tactical armor technology. Along with these political elements, Gasaraki also includes elements of Japanese culture, with Yushiro depicted as a talented no performer, a Japanese dance drama art form, as well as the toxic family hierarchy that drives the Gawa family's ambitions. Spriggan, 1998. After the discovery of ancient artifacts called out-of-place artifacts, or OOP arts, left by a long-lost civilization, governments across the world mobilized to find these artifacts, which gave those that possessed them great power. One particular group, known as the Arkham Corporation, strives to find these artifacts and hide them away before they can be used as deadly weapons against humanity. To this end, they employ special soldiers, called Spriggans, who all possess unique abilities which help them in their fight to find and preserve the artifacts. We follow one such Spriggan, a 17-year-old Japanese student named Yu Omanai, as he goes to Turkey to find the latest artifact, thought to be the fabled Noah's Ark itself. This is the basic premise of Spriggan, a 1998 Studio 4 degrees Celsius film supervised by Akira creator Katsuhiro Otomo and directed by Hirotsugu Kawasaki. The series draws heavy inspiration from action movies, specifically American action and disaster films, along with Otomo's trademark elements like a psychic child who proves to be the most dangerous foe you fight. Outlaw Star, 1998. Outlaw Star, created by Studio Sunrise as the first part of their Towards Stars universe, follows the story of Starship Captain Gene Starwind and his crew as they become the center of a galaxy-wide conflict between the two major factions of the universe. The Space Force seeks to establish order in the galaxy, while the pirates oppose them. Gene's story begins when he and his crew end up with the experimental grappler ship XGP-15A2, which they rename the Outlaw Star, and thus they find themselves chased by every other faction in the galaxy that wants the ship for their own ends. The anime follows the crew's various jobs taken to maintain the powerful ship, as well as their attempts to find the galactic ley line, a mysterious place said to grant immense wealth and power to whoever finds it. The series is a fun ride, echoing space operas and swashbuckling adventures like Star Wars and Captain Harlock. Conclusion. On this long list of forgotten 90s anime, we saw some incredible variety, ranging from mindless comedies to swashbuckling adventures and dark, complex dramas. Each of these could easily become a new favorite for a modern-day fan, if not for the fact that they're all but forgotten in the public eye. This wide variety of anime, and the wide variety of styles employed, is a cure for the blandness we see in the modern anime landscape filled with isekais and harem anime. Who knows, maybe one of these forgotten classics could end up as your new favorite, but that's all we got for you today. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like it. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and we'll see ya in the next one.